Today's morning medicine is Artemisia vulgaris. That's the plant. So that's what the leaves look like, and it grows everywhere. And the leaves are, if you're looking at it green and you turn it up, they're white underneath. So that is Artemisia vulgaris. I just went out this morning. I knew where it was in my back of my yard there, and I picked it. So just so you could see. So this plant, herbally, according to a lady I studied with, Nicole Appelian. Got a good course she has, and a lot of good information she sends out. So let's see, edible use. It can be eaten, but it's bitter. But it can be eaten like that, or you can cook it a little. Medicinal use in a tea. Menstrual issues, digestive issues, liver health, heart health, respiratory issues, and asthma, epilepsy, convulsion. So that's big epilepsy one, especially homeopathically. Burns, itches, rashes, poison ivy. You can put it on the fungal infections. Insomnia. These people sleepwalk. Antibacterial properties. It's good for staphylococcus and streptococcus. Bacillus E. coli, Pseudomonas, whatever that one is. But very good for all those caucuses. Anyways, warning, the plant may be toxic when used in large doses. Do not use if you are pregnant or breastfeeding. Skin dermatitis, okay. So that's why you got to be careful when you do a plant herbally. Herbalies, even a person that, plant that most people aren't allergic to, they could end up having an allergic reaction to that plant. Uh, Artemis vulgaris is the, I'm trying to think, is it a Greek name or is it it's the doctor's name they give it to it? You want to know a plant, you say it's mugwort, which is what that's called, mugwort, but the chemical or medical or whatever name it is, I gotta figure that out, is Artemisia vulgaris. You can give it in tincture. And potency. Potency, of course, is homeopathically prepared. Like the other Artemisias, this remedy has a prominent place in convulsive diseases like epilepsy and tics and, anything like that. Is, even goes into, well, I'll get into it, pregnancy. They have epilepsy during pregnancy, during menstruation, from a hit to the head, from grief, from, a lot of different things. I experienced that with a guy. I was working in a toy store, and we got into a little fight. I had a broom, he had a broom, and we started hitting each other with the brooms, I think. And next thing I know, he fell on the floor and was convulsing. I was like, holy crap, did I kill him? What the heck happened? I've never seen that before. But if realized he's an epileptic, I felt bad about all that. Artemisia vulgaris has some reputation as a remedy for epileptic conditions and convulsive diseases of childhood and girls at puberty. And Artemisia vulgaris acts better when given with wine. Okay. I guess everything's better with wine, huh? Not for me, it ain't. It has a prominent place in convulsive diseases, especially childhood. What's it say? Okay, let's do this. Artemisia vulgaris mugwort, which is, like I said, this plant here. That's what the leaves look like, and underneath they're whiter. They're not so green. Epilepsy after fright, grief, head injury, petite mal, which is just epileptic fits in children. I had a guy, um, his daughter was having convulsions. This may have been something that could have worked. He would go to Canada to get marijuana, CBD oil. I was selling that for a while. Well, anyways, he would get CBD oil, bring it back, and that's the only thing that stopped her convulsions, or she'd have them all day, every day. This could have worked, or you could have went homeopathically. I mean, he would drive up there, and this poor guy, at work, he'd be sleeping on the bench. His machine would be running, but he'd be sleeping, and I'd go, I'm an inspector. I'd ask the guy, should I wake him up? He said, no, let him go. He'll get his numbers. He just the guy, and I'm sure, because these guys hear this so long and so often that if something goes wrong, they can tell by the sound and it wakes them up. Another buddy of mine used to do that. And there was an explosion at a plant today. These guys could use arnica for the shock, maybe aconite. There's a few remedies for this whole incident that these guys should probably be getting. Two of them died, unfortunately. But, you know, even homeopathically, CBD oil, I would consider giving that girl. If it was working physically, you could give it homeopathically and it'd probably do the same thing. But yeah, it saddens me that people don't know about all these medicines and all these different alternative stuff, because the industry basically said, it's a whole money thing, and that's why homeopaths don't make money, because they struggle a lot, because you get someone and you give them a remedy and they're good, and they don't want to go deeper. They just wanted to get rid of that problem. So not like doctors, you go in and they say, okay, well, you need to get this pill, okay, and you need to buy it every month and keep going with it. Oh, you know what, and if that pill's you need this pill for that pill too. So it's just sad the way things went ever since. I forget what the report was in what was that rich guy? He gave his money, John Rockefeller. They gave his money to the they realized there was money to be made in doctoring. You give them pills, you get them on something, you keep them on something, you make a lot of money. You give them a homeopathic remedy, they're cured, never see them again. That's why this is a medicine for the people. You can get it into if you can get a little understanding and a kit and a couple books, you can take care of a lot of situations for your family. I've been doing it for 30 years with them. And that's my goal. You come into my community, all that's free. You can ask questions. You can, I can help you through some stuff. I'll have some courses and things. And I want to have some, what do you want to say, webinars or something like that, where people can come in and we can just sit around and talk about it. And even like if I take, go and I'll show someone how to take a case of their family member and what remedies they'd be considering, and what actually do differentials with the remedies. Everybody in that group will learn from that. That's like a mastermind. Everybody will learn from that, and then they can even put input in, and we all learn together. So yeah, it's I don't know how it's all going to work, but right now it's free, so anybody wants to get into it, and I will not inundate you with emails and all that crap, because I'm not into that. Right now, I basically don't even answer people on my social media stuff. I'm just interested in getting information out there. I want to start interacting with people, but it's going to be in a group. When I get people come into that group, we interact, and then we can all, I'm not trying to answer tons of emails everywhere, but whatever I answer will be good for the group. So anyways, back to, that's my soapbox. It just saddens me to see people hurting, injured, sick, on drugs, and that's all they are, they're drugs, to get through a day, when they can't, and the drugs are actually doing more damage to them because there's side effects compared to, if you do herbs, there can be some, like you said, don't take too much mugwort, you'll have a problem. If you take mugwort and make a homeopathic remedy out of it, now you can take it as often as you want until you start feeling symptoms, and you back off and you just take, you take it less. And you dilute it out in water. There's a whole thing there. But this medicine is great for epileptic attacks. And it says from grief, fright, head injuries, and it goes into deeper menstrual disturbances, teething. They can have epileptic attacks from. And it's accompanied by offensive sweat and seminal ejaculation. That's interesting. But the sweat smells like carnivorous or dead animals or dead person, or a garlic-like odor. So after they have that attack, they have this garlic, maybe like a dead person smell. And Okay, let's get into it up here. I wanted to read that part because it can be menstrual cramps, it can be pregnancy, a woman having in pregnancy having epileptic attacks because of the pregnancy. This could work for menstrual cramps. They get these menstrual problems, and next thing you know, they're having an epileptic attack. This could be a remedy to consider. Artemisia vulgaris. So all those things, the head injuries, the grief, the fright, and that's what I don't know if it's a fright or what it was, but when I started fighting with that kid and he had an epileptic attack, that's what brought it on. So if he would have had a grief, someone died, he could have start having more epileptic attacks. If he had, an injury of some sort. But anyways, worms, good for worms. Right side convulsed, left side paralyzed. So the left side of the body will be paralyzed. The right side will be like, and their lip will, they'll have a funny look on their lip. They'll be, the body will crunch up, So yeah, it's they're paralyzed on the left, and the right side has convulsions. Irritable, excitable before attack, so they get very worked up. And that's probably what did it with this kid that at the toy store. He was very excited. We were all both got excited. We're ready to fight it out with a couple brooms. I wasn't looking to hurt the kid or nothing, but finally, he fell down and had that attack, and that was because he got very irritable and excited before the attack. Suddenly stops, stares, remembers nothing after. This is I forget what this is called, but they'll be walking around, they'll be functioning, and then all of a sudden they'll be like daydreaming. If you've ever daydreamed, it's like you're just staring off into space. Well, these people will do it, and they'll stare off into space, maybe say something goofy, and then they'll come back and they don't have, they don't even, what the heck was that? And they'll be like, what are you talking about? They don't even remember it. So epilepsy after fright, grief, inclined to steal. Oh, these people are inclined to steal. So they remember nothing after that thing. Even after their attacks, I don't know if they remember the epilepsy. But catalepsy is, they're just, that's that, they're suddenly stopped and then frozen. Epilepsy after fright, grief. Okay, inclined to steal. That's what I wanted to get into. So these kleptomaniacs, this could be a remedy for that. People just inclined to steal. You might want to give them Artemisia vulgaris, mugwort. You can give it to them in a tea. You can feed it to them in their salad. You could go homeopathically or a tincture. Violent cramps in the abdomen. So this herb here, Artemisia vulgaris, will cause cramps when you eat too much. So also it will cure cramps homeopathically. And this could be violent cramps in menopause. It could be, a stomach flu. It could be any of that stuff. We don't look and see. We're not here fighting a disease like cancer or flu. We're here healing the vital force. So we're given an energy medicine so that the body, we're just helping the body, assisting it to fight whatever's going on, like my wife right now with that bump on the bottom of her foot's feeling good. Now she has, I think she's out of, I might just make up another bottle of Ruta 3C. That's for tendons, ligaments, all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure it's either a tendon or a ligament that is inflamed, basically, on the bottom of her foot, a little bump. And like I said, if the doctors could have took care of it, that'd have been great. Here, she went to see a doctor, and they brought other ones in and said, "What? We have never seen this before. I don't know what this is." Now she had that I'm pretty sure that was the tendon or the Achilles tendon that she had cut. So that's where I went first, and I was just right away. I said Ruta. I gave some Ruta, but it was a high dose. It was a higher dose. It was 30C, maybe even a 200C. I gave that, and I was expecting to see better results, but realizing that this is a long-term situation, I had to drop down to 3C and give it for a longer period of time to get over that, and I was using her pain in her legs to see, maybe that's when I was, you can really confuse yourself sometimes. So finally I came to phosphoric acid. Her leg pains are gone. I don't even rub them anymore. and her foot, it's getting softer, it seems, but she has to be more, be consistent with taking this Ruta. So I'm getting off on a lot of tangents, sorry. Colored lights produce dizziness. That's a 3. So any kind of lighting that's sparkly or whatever will produce dizziness in this person, and probably could lead to a convulsive attack. Pain, burning, vision, better rubbing. So they got pain in their eyes, burning, and the vision's better by rubbing. Worse using eyes. So it's worse when they use their eyes. They get color lights, makes them dizzy, and they have a better rubbing it, and there's a burning in the eyes. Twitching in face, mouth drawn to the left. Now this can be just a convulsion. This could be an epileptic attack. The mouth will be drawn to the left. Looks older. They look older in their face. Irregular or deficient menstruation with epileptic convulsions. So they're not having their menstrual cycles. Epileptic convulsions come on. You give Artemisia vulgaris. It could be an indicated remedy. That could start the menstrual flowing and clear up the epileptic stuff. Spasms during menses. Violent contractions. Checked lochia. Eclampsia, seizure during pregnancy, that's eclampsia. Lochia, they're not having anything coming out of the vagina. Check lochia. What the heck? They give these words, man. It's like lochia, and that's why you can do this, because you don't have to know all these words. Lochia is vaginal discharge. That's what I thought it was. So there's no menstrual stuff, no lochia coming out. Eclampsia is a seizure during pregnancy. Threatened miscarriage, this could be one of them, and there's a few that I've read that can be good for threatened miscarriage. You'd have to match some of the other symptoms. Violent contractions, in pregnant uterus. So when they have a uterus that's pregnant, they have these violent contractions even before the baby's ready to come. Hunger, but can't get food down. I don't know if that's from spasms or whatever, but they just can't get it done. They chew it, they try to eat it, they're hungry, but they can't swallow. Head is drawn back by spasmodic twitching, and that's convulsions, epilepsy, whatever it is. Congestion of brain, that could be hydrocephalus and stuff. Sharp shooting pain through head. So they got a sharp shooting pain. Kidneys, urine is increased. Yellowish, obstinate, stranguary in child. Stranguary means they a little bit at a time. They gotta go, they go, and it's just a little bit. They don't go very much. But yellow and obstinate. I was just reading this morning from Nicole Appelin. She sends me, I get all kinds of good stuff in my email. But she sent me a thing about, all the different, throughout the ages, how they were able to tell what was going on with a person by the color, consistency of the urine. And I'm telling you, homeopaths, you'll read that the urine is frothy, or the urine has oil in it, or the urine, and these things we utilize. They've been utilizing it for years. Whether it's too yellow, you need more water, dark, your kidneys are really having trouble. It should be pale to pale yellow. It shouldn't be real dark. Now, what happens when you take vitamins? It's real dark. Vitamins good for you? Yes. You know how you should get your vitamins? By eating plants and food. You can get everything you need just from the plants. And that's my goal now. To go out. I'm not an expert at it or nothing. I really don't. I'm not good at it at all, to be honest with you. But I learned homeopathic medicine, and I realized my mentor, Robin Murphy, said, you got to become an herbalist too. And that's very good. I need to become an herbalist. I got a class by that Nicole. I've got other things that I got to study. Mushrooms class by another kid. So just a well-rounded, knowing your herbs, what to eat, what are good for medicine, knowing what not to eat, of course. That's a very important one. And then, of course, I got this whole homeopathic medicine behind my belt. My sister-in-law, my wife, said, man, you're ahead of your times, because it was the 70s, 80s, somewhere in there. I was studying this. I wasn't ahead of my time. I just was introduced. God introduced me to this discipline for some reason, and now I know the reason, to get this out into everybody's hands. Over fatigue or weakness of feet after long walks. Well, everybody's feet are weak after long walks, but it says also after long illness. So for some reason, the feet get weak from long illness or long walks. The feet are just not, you're not able to utilize them as well. Rattling and spasms in the lungs. Breathing is checked, but sudden deep inspiration ends that attack. So when they have these spasms and these attacks, they got rattling mucus, they're having a hard time breathing in. Deep inspiration gets rid of that. Catalepsy, which is rigid muscles, non-responsive. So their muscles are uh, spasming, basically. That's what catalepsy is. Did I say it wrong up there? Yeah, I did. Catalepsy is just basically like a spasm of the muscles. You can't move. Nightly pollutions for a man. They're having wet dreams, seminal ejaculations with spasms. So they might have some seminal ejaculation come out during these epileptic attacks. Mouth is drawn to the left, so these spasms are drawn to the left with Artemisia vulgaris, and it can be drawn other ways with other medicines. Chewing motion of the gums, so their jaws are gonna be chewing like they're chewing. Grinding of teeth, bites tongue in spasms. So when they have this epileptic attack, they can bite their tongue. Speech is unintelligible. So even during the attack, they could be saying babbling, basically. Greenish diarrhea. They pass feces and urine during a spasm. So they pass some stool, they pass some urine, they pass some semen. It's good for worms too. Sleepwalking, waits at night, works. They work and they're doing things and they remember nothing. So they get up, they walk around, they're functioning, maybe cleaning the kitchen, or maybe they're sitting at their desk doing whatever. They might even be working. I don't know. I don't see them working really, but they wake up the next morning. They say, "Do you know what you did last night?" Nope, they don't have a clue. Luna is another one in Caliphos. So Luna is the moon. They took the bottle of water with alcohol in it, put it in front of the moon, and let the rays go 12 hours. I don't know how long they did it, but they got Luna, and they made a medicine and called it Luna. Now, I do have Luna in here, and if you look under it, it has its own set of symptoms. And they always say in here, that in these books, they'll say worse during full moon, different things like that. Probably where that whole werewolf thing come in. Nausea and vomiting, cramp in stomach. This can be during anything, flus, colds, menstrual cramps, all kinds of things like that. Okay, teeth grinds them. They even grind them to where they break some a lot of times. Thumbs, and this could be for a night grinder too. This could be a medicine to consider. Thumbs are drawn into a fist when they have these spasms. They're grinding their teeth. The thumbs are drawn into a fist like that, and the eyes are half open and drawn upward. So they're like this. Let's see if I can do it. I don't know if I did it. I'll see you in the video later. But the eyes are up, like you see the whites of their eyes and no pupils because they're up in the head, and they'll be twitching. I don't doubt a bit. But the eyes are drawn inward. The thumbs are drawn in, or in the fist, and they grind their teeth. And the mouth is drawn to the left when they're having this. For Artemisia vulgaris, other medicines could be for a different type of. They're the other one. Their hands could be wide open, and the jaw could be drawn to the right, or different things like that. This one, the head's drawn backwards. Some could be the head could be drawn down into like a fetal position. They could be when they have it. And then after the attack, they have profuse sweat, and it smells like garlic or like carnivorous stuff, like a dead animal. So they could have that kind of smell after they have this spasm. Artemisia vulgaris would be a definite remedy for that. Swallowing is difficult. Food escapes from mouth. So for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the spasms or what's going on, but anyone that's having hard time swallowing, whether it's a cold, a flu, a spasm, a thing, or whatever. Artemisia vulgaris. Like I said, we do not prescribe on diseases, and the best thing, I just was on that call with that Indian homeopath, and the guy had cancer of the ear. You'd think that's where you would focus, but the focus was on the stomach and the upset he was having in life that was causing him to have these stomach issues, which the body's like, I can't take this no more, produce cancer. As he gave that medicine, the cancer started going, the stomach got better pretty much right away, and the cancer relieved after months, so. But for whatever reason, food escapes and they can't swallow. Okay, so let's read a little bit here. Let's see, Artemisia vulgaris, which is mugwort. Convulsions of nursing or teething children. So teething, you'd think of chamomile. There's a few of them. But this child is nursing and they're teething and they have these convulsions. So you would think of Artemisia vulgaris. Epileptic spasms after cooling off while overheated from dancing. So from any activity, dancing, workout, whatever, they start cooling off and they have those spasms afterwards. Epilepsy from menstrual disturbances. So when they're having menstruations problems, or dysmenorrhea with cramps, they would have epileptic. Or if it was anorexia, they call it, which is no menstrual coming, those disturbances could cause epilepsy. Nightly epilepsy with violent trismus, injuring teeth. Trismus is you can't open the jaw, it's clenched. When they have these epileptic attacks, it clenches and it grinds, and it can even break the teeth. During epileptic attack, violent sweat of offensive odor, offensive odor is basically carnivorous or garlic-like smelling, but after that attack, they'd have that bad smell. Long and deep sleep after a fit. So once they have a fit, they fall asleep and they, sleep for a while. Sleepwalking, congestion of the brain and spine. So what is congestion of the brain and spine? It's just, energy's not flowing, basically. It's a fluid can be built up to and all that stuff. But hydrocephalus, and that has to do, the spine's connected to the brain up there. So you got a congestion of the spine and the nervous system, and you got a congestion of the brain. Hydrocephalus, this would be good for. Now, there's a few medicines for hydrocephalus. You'd have to choose between them. So my wife has, I don't know what she has. She doesn't cough much, but she's real miserable. She's got diarrhea, like watery diarrhea. She said it's green. She won't take a medicine. I'm giving her medicine for her foot. I was giving her medicine for her leg. She's funny. She's like, it's getting better. I'll be fine. But she keeps having intermittent fevers. And here's the intermittent fever. You're hot, like sweating like crazy. Then later on, you got to chill. So she's been going through that a lot. I'd go in and see her, and she said, don't come near me. I'm sweating. And then later on, she's cold. So she's got all that going on. Stomach issues. So it's a little more like a stomach virus, I would think. And that's what I'm thinking I caught, because I got to kiss the little girl. She's so cute. Anyways, my mother had full-on cough and all that. I gave her belladonna. Belladonna? Yeah. I finally ended up with belladonna. I gave her, I gave her belladonna and, gelsemium, because she was real tired and just laying around. I thought, we'll give both. And they do that. They got one called ABC for flus and colds, I think. Aconite, belladonna, and chamomile, I think it is. But anyways, I gave it like a combination remedy. I can only give it to her in her bottle, drinking bottle, and I can't pound it or nothing. So she just has to sip on it, and it'll work just fine. So she was out of bed the next day, and now, she's getting better. But my wife won't. I probably could find something for my wife. So last night, my son, I gave him Stannum metallicum. His sounded that way, like that type of medicine he needed. So I forget he's got the cough and different things. But anyways, last night I was feeling, I woke up yesterday, my stomach felt bad, I felt weird and all that, and my lungs, I could tell, my throat was funny, and I had a terrible headache, and I just went right to aconite. Sudden onset, went right to aconite, And as soon as I took aconite, I could feel like the headache clearing. It didn't go away fully, but I could feel it clearing. So then last night I took some more aconite, and then before I went to bed, I took something called Superflu. This is probably a flu remedy that has a lot of different flu stuff in it. I feel good today, but I still have that funny feeling in my chest and that. No headache as of now. The stomach didn't feel sick today, so we'll see. So that's, I mean, how would you like to have the ability to do that for your family? They got something and you got a little bit of knowledge, you got a kit, and you can go in and say, let's try this medicine. That doesn't work. It's not going to harm them. You can try the next medicine, or you can give a couple, 2 or 3 of them to try to clear it up. So anyways, that's my goal with my community. Once I get that built, I'll be able to interact with you in there. I'm not into answering people on social media. There's too much craziness on there. People to come into my community, I can weed them out. I can have the right people in there so that we can all have an intelligent conversation and learn together how to utilize homeopathic medicine for your family and friends if you want to. All right, that's morning medicine. You can age, but you don't have to get old.